Hello everyone, and welcome to the first installment of our game 2, where we're going to add on to the first game that we created we're going to add on to that. So you should probably have a game with a terrain, a third person, some things around the terrain, and some pickup items, and then you will also have your scorekeeping text and your win text. So it's a pretty simplistic game, but we're gonna add some things to it. But the first thing I want to say is, look, I want to do this video for you on the character controller, and I can't even select my character. This is a little glitch in the system. So you need to go to Edit, Project Settings, and then select your player option. And if your other settings is collapsed, just click on it and then select your windows, because what's happening here is we just need to change the order of the direct 3Ds. There's probably a 3D11 and a 3D9. You just change that order and you should be able to select by then. So we change that order around, and now I want to talk to you about the character controller. So when I select my character, it's just selecting the model itself. So I'm going to select the whole third-person controller. So in the hierarchy, I'm going to go ahead and select it, and it selects everything. So let's take a look at what everything is. So we have our animator, and we'll talk about that later, and we have a rigid body. And sometimes, as we were building our game objects, we would think about the rigid body, and the rigid body would bring physics to the game, and you had to select certain things in order for the object to operate. Well, Unity does this automatically in our controller, our third-person controller, so we don't have to think about it. It also happens in the first person, but we don't have to think about this. What would be bad is if I had aligned the character below the terrain, and once I selected run, the character would drop perpetually in space. So we also have on here a capsule collider, and the capsule collider is actually there to be referenced upon. That is what collides with the other objects. You can make it smaller to make the game harder, or you could make the collider object larger to make the game more simplified. So this particular capsule collider is what collides with our pickup item in order for the pickup item to be collected and the score to be added. So we reference it in our player script. Now, pretty much everything has a collider. If you look at your pickup item, I'm going to select it and hit F to zoom in. So even my pickup item has a collider around it. Even my crate has a collider around it. The signs don't, as we kind of don't use them in a physical manner. They're just more for direction and for a little eye candy in there. So that is our collider. So let me go back and select that third-person controller, and we'll keep moving down. And in the little text, I talk about the rigid body, and you can't remove it. So if you tried to remove that component, it says no way, because I'm referenced. And if you go into that particular script that it names, you'll find many places where rigid body is referenced. So of course you're going to be unable to remove it because it's calling upon it to complete an action, a function, a method, whatever you want to call it. So what else do we have? We have here our third-person character script, and it is a script, and that's what we were looking at. But the script here has some things to it. These components in the inspector window where you can change. And most of these, you know, you could figure out what they are. I think some of the important ones are the jump power, gravity multiplier, and possibly your anim speed and your speed multiplier. That's how fast everything picks up. So you should play with these options. Please know that if you make your jump power too strong, your character will jump, and it will actually jump to the other side of the island or completely off the island, which doesn't work very well. So these are little things that you can mess around with your character controller in order to change how the game is played, is what I wanted to say. So let's look at this animation speed multiplier. So this is really how much the character will speed up. So if you think like the Roadrunner and how the Roadrunner runs, I don't know, maybe I'm aging myself there, but the Roadrunner runs and how it looks to you when he's running, it's just really fast, you know. So mess around with those, play with those, select, you know, run, and see what happens. What I can tell you is you probably want to write down what these numbers are right now, because as you play with them, you might forget what they are. Another place as well is if you followed along and you used your main camera and you have the smooth follow, there's also some components here that work with how you see that character. So mess around, have fun, save, save, save.